Okay, my name is Gareth and I'm the co-founder and technical lead for Debitrak. Debitrak design and manufacture cashless payment systems, and basically what that is you can go to a point of sale, produce a card or a key fob and pay for your items from an online account. Now, most people are familiar with contactless payments these days with MasterCard or Visa or Apple Pay, and what we do is our technology is kind of similar, except our key difference is that we are a closed loop system. So that means that our system will only function within a certain location or premises or a logical network. So for example, a school or a university campus or an office building or a factory. So the main advantage of our system versus just simply paying with a credit or debit card is that our customers, who are the people who implement the cashless system, can introduce other features as part of the project. So for example, in a university they can have bursary payments or hardship payments, free school meals, that kind of thing. Or in an office environment, you can grant staff a free coffee on a Friday from the vending machine or something similar. The reason why we adopted a cloud strategy with Debitrak is that traditionally with closed loop cashless systems, they were on-premises solutions because of the nature of a closed loop solution. So these back in the early days, if I can call it that, it was difficult to support and maintain that software because it's installed inside your customer's network, and we had to quite often arrange remote access to servers and infrastructure, even send people to site to adjust settings or make changes or upgrade. So as over time, as broadband and fiber optic networks became kind of commonplace and our customer base started to avail of these fast communication sort of infrastructure, we realized that it was now possible to develop a system that targeted a cloud platform and essentially run the cashless, closed loop cashless systems off-site with a minimal deployment on premises. This had a clear benefit for our product line because all of a sudden we don't have to invest time in putting people on site. We don't have to worry about scheduling upgrades or arranging remote access or having to be intrusive on internal IT. We can affect a lot of those things remotely and control the cloud from our base here and support our customer better, deliver a better service, and therefore it becomes more cost effective for us in the long run, and makes it easier for us to deliver a really good solution. We, when we took a decision to run on a cloud-based platform, we had to essentially redesign our product, our software. It had to be rebuilt, and this kind of coincided with our decision to create a new product called Debitrak, which was a cloud-based cashless system designed from the ground up for that type of deployment. We did our research, of course. We had our technical skills here in-house anyway for software development, but targeting a cloud solution, a web-based cloud solution versus a on-premises client-server solution is a different architecture, and therefore we need to investigate that, make sure we make the right decisions. And we went through a process of testing, road mapping the software, prototyping on different cloud providers, and just trying to build up our internal knowledge as to how we deliver that successfully. Now when we speak to one of our customers who has a more traditional system that's hosted on premises, we can migrate them to the cloud with their understanding that there are certain non-technical things to consider. So for example, their information that they hold currently on premises, the database of information, their information about card holders and account balances and so on, will now be hosted on the cloud. And we do have to go through a process of kind of assuring them that that's going to be secure, and we have a fully robust system that won't disappear one day when they come into the office in the morning. So there's a little bit of hearts and minds there for our customers to convince them But once they see the solution and we can describe the benefits, then it generally works out quite well. Yes, data protection is a sensitive issue, particularly when we talk about financial information. Now, our system, as I've described, is closed loop, so we don't deal with credit card numbers and bank details as such, but we still hold a balance of funds that someone has injected into the system. They've transferred that money in, and that's theirs. So we have to make sure that the system is secure. We have a consideration for PCI compliance, which is when you hold any information about an individual beyond basic information such as their name and their surname, possibly their mobile phone number, their email address. When you start gathering a kind of demographic of someone's details, you need to consider your PCI compliance level. Now, at current, we try to operate on a kind of minimal level, because PCI compliance is quite a difficult process to go through. But as we grow, that's something we would consider investing time in to reach that compliance level and be certified. The main benefit that we see, and it's expected from our point of view, sometimes our customers don't realize it until they try to, they understand the differences, is that when we deliver a system to a customer, for example a university, the provision of servers and infrastructure to run the software isn't necessarily the remit of the people that we're selling the system to. So they will internally have to go to an IT department or a separate department and negotiate with them the delivery of infrastructure and servers and backup and who supports it. For example, even having a network point added somewhere on premises usually involves they have to engage with the IT department, who will subcontract internally to maintenance, just to physically put that point in place. So whenever we arrive and say you don't need to put up a server, you just need to make sure you have a secured internet connection and you can reach our cloud. That takes quite a chunk away. That doesn't completely remove it, because we still have some local presence there in terms of our payment readers on the point of sale, but it removes a significant part of it that before would have to be delivered by the customer. And that extends not only to hardware but also to software licensing, say Microsoft server licenses, and all that kind of stuff is removed. Now we have to, that's our cost that we take on, but in the way we price the product and we sell it, we include this in a kind of subscription model, so that over time they are paying for this service, but it's not a capital cost for them on day one, or even to put in a test system that they want to run for a short period of time. They would still have to invest in this platform, whereas with our system we can come in, we can run a trial for 60 days, and if they like it, that's great. If they don't, they can turn it off. In terms of reservations, we have there have been a few things we need to consider, and they're not insurmountable problems, but they just have to be considered when we talk to the customer, when we look at suitability for a cloud-based application in certain locations. For example, if we have some primary school in rural Ireland where the internet connectivity isn't great, or they're reliant on maybe a 3G or a 4G connection, we have to really assess that and say, we can run a system there. You may have some bumps in your connectivity which will impact the success of your operation, and in those circumstances what we've tried to do is offer an on-premises version of our cloud-based product. So we do have a version that we can strip down and place as a traditional on-premises system. So we've tried to follow both tracks, which is really just a case of us being sensible and looking at our spectrum of customers through the market and saying, well, there will be occasions whenever the physical infrastructure can't support a cloud connection, or vice versa, they have a particular problem with their data residing off-site. On some occasions we have customers who are maybe banks or secure organisations, prisons or somewhere like that, where we won't be allowed to host information offsite. It's just a company-wide policy. It doesn't really matter what the information is. They just want everything to be kept on premises, and that gives them peace of mind. So we've had to develop two solutions, two variants of our product. Another slight reservation we had would be from our perspective, when we go to the market and we look at various cloud hosting providers, cloud platform providers, so Amazon, Microsoft, things like that, and the cost of us putting up a cloud-based solution. Now, in the old days, we could, if you had one customer, you put in one system and you knew exactly where the cost boundaries were with that. If we offer a cloud-based solution, we have to invest in a cloud platform that can maybe handle up to 25 customers or up to 50 and move it in blocks. Now, the adverse effect of that is that on day one, even if you have one customer, you still have to invest quite a lot in your cloud platform and your costs for running that system. So we've had to project ahead and say we're going to invest in a system that'll take this much capacity for the next 12 months, and we could hopefully we'll fill that capacity. We've kind of done our looked at our targets and our sales targets. If we don't fill that capacity, we still have that cost. So that was another consideration, and possibly something that would influence your decision to develop a cloud product. You need to have at least a vision of some volume of customers to go on there in a sort of 12 to 18 months period to make it feasible. As our product develops, we have obviously plans to enhance the cloud compatibility of the software. At the moment, we maybe sit somewhere between an application that's hosted on the cloud and an application that's actually cloud-based, and that's because we have we're kind of evolving the product. Now, as time goes on, we may start to introduce more completely cloud-centric features, such as some of the load balancing functionality that's available through the providers, maybe some messaging type functionality that runs across the cloud and links up then with mobile and tablet clients as well. So these are things that are available to us, and they're unique to cloud platforms that we may start introducing into the product as well. That's our product. That's our product development. Internally as a business, we use quite a lot of cloud services. At the minute, we would say we use some messaging applications which are cloud-based, file sharing applications, and things like that just make it easier for us to run our business, the actual internal workings, how we communicate with our teams, our support people, and internally. So we do adopt, as well as providing a cloud-based platform, we do use cloud-based services as well. I think our advice to anyone who's looking at going towards a cloud-based platform for some of their internal processes would be to take small steps. If you don't try to sort of boil the ocean from the start. Take a small part of your business that you may identify, like for example a CRM system, your messaging system, or some central file storage, and move it to a cloud platform and see how that works out, and then generally evolve it from that point on. Also, selecting the right cloud provider is quite an important step, because some providers are more specialized and they'll deal with particular financial systems and they're designed for that, to host that for you. Other platforms are more generic, and like for example Microsoft or Amazon platforms, where all or any of your infrastructure can be hosted there, right down from your network logins to your email and other sort of business services. So take a small step into that domain, find the right provider, and then roll it out as you see fit. Some applications will not benefit from being migrated to the cloud, some legacy applications that have been there, and there's no point in trying to shoehorn that into a cloud platform because you won't see any real great benefit from it. So generally it depends on the organisation and the size of the organisation and where you are in terms of your technology. We use a help desk system to support our customers, which is cloud-based, which is something we've seen a real benefit from. Previously, when we have a support system, traditionally there's an email address that you use, and your customer gives you the problem, and whoever picks up that email address, that email first, deals with it and responds back, or internally has to pass it to someone else. We use a product called Zendesk, which completely automates that process for us. It's cloud-based, and it introduces a complete workflow to the support process, and that's made a real difference to us. It made us more efficient in terms of how we support our customers, and more responsive, because a lot of our business, we have software level agreements with our customers, and they have guaranteed response times and so on, severity levels, and if you're not set up correctly, you can really struggle to meet those. And this tool has been a real game changer for us in terms of our customer support side.